Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahushua, Ba'Shem, Harakakadash. Double as the apostles and elders, great most under rule well, and Shalom to the brothers doing the work of sharing the truth. Got this article on Newsweek, and, you know, it's again gone into Esau more or less trying to, bring it about that Star Trek, kind of future where they go out from Earth and then, and they go to these different planets and they colonize it and they, he's basically able to establish Edom over there as well. But, these things have basically been put outside of, the realm of what Esau is going to achieve because, he's been put there with an express purpose and certain things are essentially needed for him to fulfill. So I'll read it. So it says, how humans will become a multiplanetary species. It says humans have many practical reasons to become multiplanetary, but the mission shouldn't represent merely a life insurance policy for the species. And it's funny because these are the things that those with money capabilities, these are the guys that are at the top in the upper echelons of society. This is what they're pushing for, and why it's not a mystery why, because it's the same with why they're trying to attain invincibility, maintain their youth as they get older, cybernetic bodies, merging themselves with technology so they can become superhuman. These are things that those in power want because they want to maintain their rule. They're thinking about sustaining themselves in the long term. So this is what, imagine watching Earth rise from from your home at Mars Base Alpha, a place bustling with mining robots, research pods, and cargo landers. Together, they are building the next human neighborhood 140 million miles from the original home planet. On a new home planet. Years earlier, robots scoured Mars for ice deposits and usual regolith to produce oxygen, water, and building materials. Solar panels ferried on cargo flights from Earth generated power to fuel automated construction. Now Mars' first human inhabitants are conducting research and growing food in biodomes. They're eating 3D printed beef and pizza. They're hosting tourism. They're even Instagramming. And it's funny because the food angle that's been getting pushed for a minute with having either lab grown meat, having these substitute meats like the soy well, it's meant to be soy, but then it's what Impossible Burger shit like that, where it looks and behaves like meat and whatnot, but then it's just made from fuck knows what, and then the 3D printed as well. These all things they're trying to bring in because they're saying, oh, it's actual animals, or actual like actual animals are basically they're saying, oh, it's destroying the planet using them in the long term. And I'm like, nigga, you retarded. Like, those things they've done been there for the longest, for an express purpose, man. A bunch of them beasts are there, clean beasts are there to be eaten, man. That's a big part of what they're here for, and other beasts as well. They've they have various jobs to do, man. Whether in the sky, in the ocean, on land, that they got roles to play. But this is obviously Esau. He's basically trying to build his own order, his own structure, which is why he'll do certain things, and basically say, oh, he's got the full scope, like he'll basically certain trick. Well, it's on a few levels because it's with the food where he'll completely throw dietary law in the bin, but then as well it's like he's basically trying to craft his own sort of mad scientist concoction for call that food instead, and then same for like how interacting with the planet. It's like you got land Sabbath, you got certain ordinances that have been set in place to maintain the earth. He's thrown those in the bin, and now it's like, yo, the Earth's on its last legs, man. It's getting weaker with age, and it's basically receiving abuse from Esau Edom. So this is what, perhaps in this century, humans will become a multi-planet species. We'll begin on the Moon and Mars, our closest planetary kin, before exploring outposts in our solar system. We'll take this monumental leap because we can and should. Earth won't be here forever. And then, to that, the first thing is Ecclesiastes 1 and 4. It says, one generation passeth away, and another generation cometh, but the earth abideth forever. Yeah, the earth's going to be here forever. That's something that the Esau's, fabricated, saying like, oh, there's like in X amount of hundreds of millions or billions of years, your great 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 grandchildren or whatever, are gonna get zapped. Meanwhile, you've got societies now, countries, different places where people ain't even looking like they're gonna survive another 2 or 3 generations because of how few people are even having sex. So, well, not even having sex, let's say having children. Because some of them are having sex, but they ain't having no kids. So, these, like, the levels of the actual destruction coming is coming from, other factors. It ain't because the planet's about to, gonna blow up, or the sun's gonna blow up, or some shit like that. It's because why? It's because of what Esau's out here doing. But, okay. So I'll skip down a bit. I'll skip through because there's a few interesting things. So it says, why humans should become a multiplanetary species. Earth might be in its endgame. Nick Bostrom, director of Oxford University's Future of Humanity Institute, has detailed the numerous existential risks our planet confronts. Nuclear holocaust, yeah, which they're treating that like it's like as soon as that happens, it's done. It's a wrap for the planet. But again, this is why you need a spiritual eye to basically be able to discern, because that's something that Yahweh Shem Shai is ordained. It's going to come to pass. It's been spoken. The word's gone out, so it's going to be fulfilled. But that don't mean that, there ain't going to be no planet back. America's going to get wiped off the face of the earth. A few other places are going to get hit as well. But then that doesn't then mean like, oh, and then it's done, and it's just like there's no humanity or man are going to be out. Why? Because hey, that's basically the end of one and the beginning of another. That's the end of Esau's rule, and really that's what most people would consider, the end, because they're caught up within this system. They're thinking like, yo, but what if I can't? What if there's no iPhone? There's no Instagram? There's no this? Like, how can we? There's no World Cup. There's no like. These are the things they're lamenting over, and then it's you go back to First Maccabees. That Jake was all up in the system of the Greeks, giving all the what do you call it, man? Giving all their energy into what Antiochus was doing, man. Hella wicked Jake. So it's the same now. You got Jake doing that. You got the other nations as well. They're basically moving like citizens of Esau's rule. But it says what? Genetically engineered mistakes, destructive nanobots, and even a gradual loss of human fertility. Yeah, there was a what do you call it? There was a news article. Well, I think it was a video actually of like it was a like artificial. They said it was like a nanobot or a nano machine, basically impregnating, grabbing a sperm and putting it in an egg or something like that. So these, that going into that rice grain, that can be tied into. They say, okay, we're gonna deploy these systems within. They're gonna, help your fertility or something like that. That's the thing is Esau. All these issues come from from Esau, but then what? He's also got the solutions, man. Because like what? There's the testosterone levels have been plummeting. I think, like they said, from at least like the last 70 years, likely longer. Well, yeah, we know. Because men, the generations have been getting weaker with age. And then what is it? Fertility as well going down. These things going down. But then Esau's selling it as like, as these things occur, it's just gonna be a wrap. There's gonna be no hope. You're gonna have to give up, or basically just abide with whatever he's doing, as that's the only means to survive. And that's the viewpoint a lot of people look at through. Because it says what? Meanwhile, MIT research suggests the planet's ocean, could contain enough carbon by 2100 to begin a mass extinction event. Yeah, they're talking about mass extinction, man, where it's like the movies where it's just like everything starts dying, there ain't gonna be no air left. It'll be like Interstellar. Interstellar is basically that scenario playing out. And then, science trying to, find a way. Yeah. Let me read a bit more. So I read this. Obadiah 1, 4, it says, it's up from verse 3. It says, "The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwelleth in the clefts of the rocks, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring thee down to the ground? Though thou exalt thyself as an eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord Jehovah." Yeah. That's the thing is with Esau's being, he's prideful because of the capabilities he's been given. He's been given them, the means to go up into space. He's shoot missiles, to make airplanes, tanks, trains, genetic and GMOs and various other things. He's been given the means to do various things. But then, there's a limit on that. Because what does this say? Ezekiel 28:2, it says, "Son of man, say unto the prince of Tyrus, thus saith the Most High Power, because thine heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am a God, I sit in the seat of God, in the midst of the seas, yet thou art a man, and not God, though thou set thine heart as the heart of God." Yeah, these are the things that Esau's trying to essentially establish himself as. Because of the capabilities he's been given, he's really there, sitting there like these guys on the elite level thinking like, yo, we are gods out here. They're maneuvering like they're on a higher level. But this is a state. This is temporary, man. This is a transitory time. Whilst Esau's essentially got the crown. Because what does it say? "Behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide from thee. With thy wisdom and with thine understanding, thou hast gotten thee riches and hast gotten gold and silver into thy treasures." Yeah, you're wiser than Daniel. There's no secret in your head. You basically been able to build yourself up. And by thy great wisdom, and by thy traffic, hast thou increased thy riches, and thy heart is lifted up because of thy riches. Yeah, you've been able to build up immense amounts of wealth, been able to establish yourself, have everyone else look at you and worship you. This is the key thing you forget. This is why Esau's sitting there thinking he's gonna go out and conquer other planets. Daniel 2 and 21. It's up from 20. So it says, "Daniel answered and said, Blessed be the name of the Most High, for ever and ever, for wisdom and might are his. And he changeth the times and the seasons. He removeth kings and setteth up kings. He giveth wisdom unto the wise, and knowledge to them that know understanding." Yeah. We're dealing with Yahweh Hashem Yahushua is the one that basically is putting you on levels to even be able to go, to go into space. Have the man calculate how various different technologies can come together, so you can get an ICBM, so you can get a nuclear warhead, so you can get computer systems, so you can get the internet, so you can get these various things. It's through the inspiration of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. Because why? The wisdom all comes from there. That's the source. It says what? "He revealed the deep and secret things. He knoweth what is in the darkness, and the light dwelleth with him. I thank thee and praise thee, O thou power of my fathers, who hast given me wisdom and might, and hast made known unto me what we desired of thee, for thou hast now made known unto us the king's matter." Yeah, he was giving him the vision of what happened in the dream and the breakdown of how to interpret it. And that was speaking of up to now. Well, really up into the kingdom. Because the dream ends with what? With the stone coming down and shattering the whole statue. And then, becoming the mountain, which is the kingdom of heaven. So that was wisdom of even up to these times. Who was going to rule, man? The iron and miry clay. The feet and the 10 toes. That's the time we're in now. So that's the thing, is the wisdom that Yahweh Shai has is beyond the bounds of what Esau's got. Like Esau knows now he's in that time, okay. And he knows, how to go into the heavens, how to, shoot these missiles, do various things. He's got like I don't know, man, all different forms of technology and wisdoms. But then just having that's something that can be pieced off. And that's what's happened. Because you had, when you deal with Esau, what? It's like, wouldn't have deigned to set him with the dogs, man. Wouldn't have had him chilling with the dogs. Wouldn't have him chilling with the animals. Because it was that much of an aggressive beast. That's how the state Esau was in. He was in a state where he needed to be brought up on levels. Because it was chased away from among men, man. They were like, yo, we don't deal with this guy. This guy's too much. What does it say? Job 14:5, it says, seeing his days are determined, the numbers of his month are with thee, thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. Yeah. That's the other thing that Esau forgets. As with all the errors of the statue, those, that will go from the gold to the silver to the brass, will basically go to the different elements, where we'll switch from one system of rule to the next. And that's the thing, is the feet and 10 toes. That's that statue doesn't abide forever. That statue has an end. So that's the same with now. The current rulership, it's got an end. So Esau going out into the heavens and colonizing space, they ain't gonna go down. It's funny. There's what do you call it? It goes through a few different things, which I find funny. So a bit further down it says, researchers are modeling the development of in situ propellants from local Martian materials and high-speed propulsion systems to develop fuel-efficient, cost-effective transport. Once there, how will humans live on Mars? Living tech might hold the answer. It's funny that biotech is what they're looking into, because that all lines up with what? The rice grain. They're gonna, like, with I believe it's The Expanse. There's a, I can't remember if it's on Amazon or on Netflix. It's one of those, The Expanse, but it's based on a book series, and it's about like that, going out colonizing space, developing, genetically modifying humanity for going into space. And then with that, that's a big part of what they do: biotech, genetic engineering, all these things. Because it was, what you call it, fucking hell, there's a few others, but they say like, to be able to live in space, you would have to, genetically alter people so that they can, maintain, like, survive for long periods of time. And then what all these different technologies, what they're gonna be bound together in that rice grain, man. That's where all these capabilities, it's gonna be like the next smartphone, where it's kind of like centralized. Like smartphones are basically, the central tool to do various other things. And it's like, okay, you get the smartphone, and then you bounce off that to use different apps, do different things, use the camera, use a microphone, use a screen, use the various sensors it's got to do other things. But then it's the core thing. That's what you're gonna have with a Karagma, whether it's and even now it's like people are using payment system. It used to be like, what, payment? How are you gonna, how are people gonna not be using credit cards or not be using cash money? Now it's where the phone or even contactless cards. It's like the ease of use. I remember Like back in the 90s, it would be like, if my mum would send me to buy something, she'll send me with cash, or then even to withdraw cash, and she had to tell me the pin number and blah blah blah. Now you can just give a kid the card, and then they don't have to fucking remember anything. Just go there and get certain and tap it and whatever, and then you can see on your phone how much they spent and blah blah blah. And then all these things are basically been centralized into one system, and it's so then even more now that contactless has become essentially ubiquitous within like London, within New York, within these places where technology is at the cutting edge. Then switching to the Karagma is easy as all hell. People will jump on it. They'll be like, oh, I didn't have to remember my wallet. But like there's people who are like, oh, I forgot my phone. Oh, I forgot my card. Now it would just be like, you can't even forget. And people are like, oh shit, I can't wait. But okay, there's more. Because funny, it says what? So supporting multiplanetary life with living tech, says Lynn Rothschild, a senior researcher. It's funny, them red shirts come up. Which I was like, damn. I was like, oh, okay, of course they're involved. But hey, that lets you know, man. This all and what talking about biotech. So this is what a senior research scientist at NASA's Ames Research Center is an expert in astrobiology. She believes humans on Mars will generate electricity using bacteria and grow houses from fungi. Redshield said that growing structures on Mars from fungi instead of shipping construction materials could save 90% of the transport up mess problem. The key is synthetic biology. Redshield calls this living tech, which starts with the power of the cell. Microscopic organisms will produce silk, wool, latex, silica, and other materials. Will send digital information to biofactories on Mars through DNA sequences. Will generate and store power using living organisms. Redshield said one of her students incorporated silver atoms into plant DNA to make an electrical wire. So yeah, he's basically trying to achieve, come up with some form of system to make the shit run. And that's these are the things. Is Esau is essentially trying to make it so his shit doesn't have an end. His rulership, his kingdom, what he's been pieced off for a period of time. He's trying to have it run forever, and everyone else is going to play party to it. Most of the people in the world are going to be part of it. They're going to be thinking like, yo, I don't want America, Europe, whatever to end. They'll think, oh, is this what we need to comply with? It was the same thing that happened during the pandemic. So what do we need to comply with so it can continue? Then they complied. Didn't even make, like, they were thinking, well, I ain't even got sick, I ain't even got this or blah blah blah. But I'll just they'll jump in to take it. Cause why? Let them continue, man. It's funny. It says once you think of life as technology, you've got the solution. Yeah. So all that sounds eerie as all hell. I think was there something else, but no, that was. But yeah, these Esau's trying to have it run, but there's a bound, and why is there a bound? Isaiah 54:16 it says, "Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals and fire, that bringeth forth an instrument for his work, and I have created the waster to destroy." Yeah. The reason these technologies are developed is because there's a role. There's a key role these technologies need to play. Guys, setting your nest among the stars, having a little hiding place. That's for the sake of prophecy. The nuclear missile. It's funny because even the ICBM is all the space travel, like rocket technology, is basically used in the ICBM for the atmospheric re-entry, for it to break out into the atmosphere and then travel however far it travels in the stratosphere, and then re-entry and land on site. Going between the Soviet Union and the US, during the Cold War. That's why all those space, the ability to shoot satellites in space, all these various things, came off the back of that. Then it's the same with like various technologies. When you have, I always mention it with what's it called? like civilization, a video game civilization, they have like a technology tree. Then you'll have like different ages, so like the atomic age, the information age, different things. And then what these technologies develop, it'll be like one main thing, because it's like once you get atomic energy, you have a bunch of other technologies that came off that. Once you have electricity, then you have a bunch of other things that came. Once you develop technology that enables other things, and that's the thing, is people don't see the like the root of where things go back to. They might just think like, oh, someone just made a phone, or someone just made a what's it called, a transistor. There's transistors. What was the other thing? Like microchips. All these different things that were developed, they're all made usually for some kind of weapon in war. And then afterwards, it was applied broadly outside of that. So that waster, that's the key thing. If I read this, John 14, and 2, it says, "What? In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there ye may be also. And whither I go, ye know, and that way ye know." Yeah, my Father's house are many mansions. When in the kingdom, that's when, will so-called become multi-planetary. That's something that's not been given unto Esau. Esau is the one that can set his nest among the stars. He's gonna have the capability of those nuclear missiles. You have it in the cinema now with Oppenheimer, where it's all about him developing the atomic bomb during World War II, and then that's when the quote, "I am become death, the destroyer of worlds," the quote that he made. Because why? They were thinking like they were accessing like godlike power, and that's fed further into Esau's pride. But that's the thing, is certain things were peace for him, certain things weren't. Because it's like who the chosen is, that's still the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. If the Israelites are still the chosen, it doesn't mean that Esau's now coming and supplanting the blessing. He's got his blessing with a sword, and his sword's developed to what? It developed to the gun, developed to like the missile, to the nuclear warhead. But he's still got a role to play. And once that's done, he's a rep. So yeah, the king, that's when, we'll get out there. That's, But yeah, I'll leave it there. Say, all praise to Yahweh, Bashem Yahshua, Bashem HaKadosh, Daman Sim Apostles, and Elders, great mills on the real well. Shalom. Shalom.